the heck happened to the stock of Costco last week? When Costco reported, its quarter was almost universally panned by the media. The results were allegedly, and I'm going to put little quote marks there, allegedly weaker than expected. And the stock dropped almost 5% in pre-market trading. Let's just write down here. But because I'd read the conference call the night before, I knew the headlines were wrong. The quarter was fine, and the stock had to be bought in a weakness. Sure enough, you made a quick 10 points if you bought Costco into the panic. You know what? I think it's got more room to run. So how does the stock go up when it's supposed to be down, when all the commentary is negative? Okay, when Costco reported, the headline number looked to be far from good. In fact, some people thought it were disturbing. However, if you've been following Costco for any amount of time, you had to know there were so many moving parts here to this quarter that the headline numbers were borderline meaningless. Sure, if management forecasting, say, a 7% same-store sales growth and the actual number comes in at 5%, a big disappointment, well, that's one thing. That's going to freak people out. But in reality, Costco delivered 5% when Wall Street was looking for just a little bit more. And it wasn't decisively disappointing at all, which is why you had to dive into the conference call to make your own determination you couldn't use the headlines. Although, obviously, judging by this, many people did choose the headlines. That's how I knew the quarter was better than it looked. Plus, it didn't hurt that the analysts who followed Costco roundly approved of the quarter in their notes the next day. In fact, many of them actually raised their price targets, even as the headlines would have had you believe that the numbers deserved to be cut, and they would be taking the price targets down. First, Costco isn't just a retailer here. That's what you need to know. The headlines can't capture that. See, it's a club, and that club had record signups. Total cardholders now at 98.5 million, up from 97.2 million last quarter. Renewal rates here in the United States are ridiculously high. They're 90.9%. That's a club that people want to stay in. Second, e-commerce, which has long been kind of an afterthought for Costco, is now booming. It's growing at a 19.8% clip. It's only getting stronger. Finally, Costco just opened a new store in Shanghai, and it was mobbed. Just listen to what CFO Rich Galante, who is so good, had to say about this on the call. Quote, due to overwhelming crowds, it was actually closed about 4 hours into the opening day, end quote. The Shanghai store racked up 200,000 members in a few weeks' time. That's an unheard of pace. Typically, other new stores will generate about a third of that over the same period. Now, it wasn't perfect, but I think a lot of the confusion here stems from the way the question and answer session unfolded on the call. Specifically, it's about how the analysts asked their questions. Now, do not get me wrong. The analysts got this one right for the most part. They stuck by Costco, which was right. They raised numbers, which was right. But their process created a misleading impression that reverberated throughout the media that evening and made you feel like the stock was going to get poleaxed. You got to understand, if you're working as an analyst, your first job is to come up with what's known as a model, okay? And that model lets you figure out how much money the company's going to earn. Then you look at the actual numbers to see if they're better or worse than your model. So when Costco reported on Thursday night and some of the headline numbers were below the analyst consensus, the average of what all the sell-side firms that covered the stock were looking for, people started dumping the stock left and right. With Costco trading at a pretty elevated level to begin with, 35 times earnings, the sellers figured that the stock was due for some downgrades. The darn thing was up about 42% for the year. You don't expect it to hold on to these gains after a blown quarter. You expect a slew of downgrades. But the analysts didn't go there. On some level, they actually understood that Costco has never run itself to please Wall Street. No, they don't play that game. Costco knows that if they keep their customers happy, it will ultimately benefit the shareholders. And that, believe me, is one and then the next, not shareholders benefit and customers may benefit. Management has such a terrific record that they're built up an enormous amount of trust, a reservoir of trust. It's never been a mistake to give Costco the benefit of the doubt, and you can see it year after year after year. However, if you listen to the Q&A, it was like pulling teeth. Repeatedly, the analysts were asking, is it safe? No, is it? No, just kidding. Repeatedly asking for help on the margins in the gasoline business. Costco sells tons of gasoline. Very hard to understand because of the changing prices of gasoline. No, they didn't get any help on that one at all. They want to know if the tariffs are putting the company at a disadvantage. All Galante tells us is that there, quote, will be some impact. Given that Costco only sells 3,800 items, far fewer than the typical chain might sell 100,000, 150,000 items, Galante believes that the tariffs will be easy to manage. He mentions the new tariffs on European cheese and olive oil, but he won't put a number on it. Kind of just say, oh, like, we got these new tariffs. Why isn't he more worked up about this stuff? Well, as Galante explains, quote, I think we are able to decide not to sell something and put something else in its place, end quote. Again, that's easier for Costco to do because they concentrate on a smaller number of bulk items. See, they don't need to have everything in every possible variety. Instead of focusing on tariffs, Galante wisely talked about something Wall Street had been freaking out before early in the year, but now they seem to have forgotten about. He's talking about the cost of freight. He says that it's peaked and now going back down. The analysts didn't seem to care at all, at least not on this call. What else? Even though the analysts love those numbers for the new store in Shanghai, Costco tells us they don't have plans to open more Chinese locations until 2021. Why not? Because they like to be methodical, or as he kept saying, pretty methodical about their openings. This slow pace drove the analysts nuts. One of them asked if maybe the expectations really exceeded, given how slowly they're taking things, but Clancy stressed it clearly, quote, surpasses all of our very high expectations, end quote. Still, that doesn't mean Costco is going to start putting up new stores before they're ready. They've got a process. They are meticulous. They don't just add stores to please Wall Street. All right, how about the mood of the consumer? Rather than wringing his hands about the state of the economy, Clancy says, and I quote, I think if we all turned off the television and stopped listening to everything every day, we'd all be better, end quote. Oh, by the way, Costco sold, and this is not the first time, a diamond ring for $200,000 this quarter. A lot of carats, as Talante said. Now, who saw that coming? Management. Why? Because management knows that the customer, you, me, has trust in Costco, and that Costco offers real value. Trust, value. Trust, value. Sounds like something Benioff would say. Again, this is the co-CEO of Salesforce. I shouldn't have presumed that. Again, though, even though the analysts may have sounded dubious in the call, I knew to tell you to buy it on Squawk on the Street right here, as most of these analysts raise stay positive, raise the price target, and that's what you needed to know. You see, as long as there were no downgrades, they couldn't take it lower. The most negative thing that happened was OPCO did a very minor number cut. I don't think it was anything at all. Everyone who bailed on this stock anticipating a wave of slash estimates ended up, well, let's just say getting burned. If you stuck with Costco, as you should have, as I've said over and over again, if you gave management the benefit of the doubt, then look at the money you made. And that's very short term. Bottom line, the next time you see a high-quality company like Costco report a seemingly disappointing quarter, don't rush to judgment. Listen to the conference call. Remember, when you're going over the question and answer session, that the analysts are just trying to put together models, but even they can't think beyond those models when it really matters. Costco is a fantastic company. Management told a great story of value and trust, and I think the stock's a terrific buy. Anytime it gives you a pullback, just like the one it gave you the other day. Let's go to D.C. in Georgia. D.C.
Hi, how you doing?
I am good. How about you, D.C.?
Doing great. Okay, so do I get right into my question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I bought Wayfair right after I saw them rolling out marketing for free delivery, and I thought, well, that's smart, so I'll look into that. And in essence, I sold off the gain 3 separate times. But that was, and then I sold the entire stock. That was before I saw your segment about, don't be a pig, but
right.
hold on to the initial investment and let it ride.
Okay.
So I did sell out, like I said, the initial investment. But it was also because I'm a little older and I'm a little uncomfortable with the challenges that Wayfair might face to remain profitable,
right,
as they try to grow and compete with, the giant Amazon. So I did sell it out about 6 weeks ago. That being said, I was curious, do you think that was a poor choice?
No, you had to do it. I mean, anyone who watches, I find I learned a tremendous amount. My wife, Lisa, insists that we watch the commercials. I can't dial around in football. I learned a tremendous amount from the commercials. I'm not kidding. And Amazon has a whole commercial developed to it, just really built around a table, a guy dreaming of a table. Is that ever about obliterating Wayfair? Somehow Wayfair got under their skin, and that's a bad thing to do. Ask, by the way, what happens when a sleeping giant wakes up like Nike or Amazon, Nike with Under Armour. You can't own the company they go after. Matt in New York. Matt.
Booyah, Cramer. How are you?
I am well. How about you, Matt?
Good. So I've had DKS, Dick's Sporting Goods, for probably the last 4 or 5 months. It's performed very well. But should I try to sell off and move into another company, or do I wait for it to drop and buy it at a lower position?
High-quality company. No need to do that. Took aggressive action to remove guns. That is Ed Stack that did that. Ed Stack's a man of great courage. And I think he's also a fabulous operator. At 11 times earnings, I wouldn't sell that, particularly with a 3% yield. You got a good one there. I really like that one. How about Ashwin in California? Ashwin.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for taking my call. Hope all is well. Amidst all this talk about this recession and all this stuff, I still remain optimistic. What do you think about Restoration Hardware, RH?
You know what? You can buy some here. It's only a few from the top, and you buy more. Why? I got to tell you, Gary Friedman is so good. He's a Warriors fan, by the way. And when we were with Greg from the Warriors, he let us be right next to him. I have to tell you, I think that this is absolutely a great stock to own. And if you haven't been to the Palace that is downtown, holy in New York. I've not been to Chicago. I want to go to that one, too. Gary Friedman's the real deal, and so is the stock. All right, until analysts understand that Costco runs its business for its customers, trust and value, and not for Wall Street, their models will always be flawed. That's the reality of a company that prioritizes you, the customer, ahead of the shareholder, knowing that the shareholder is going to benefit in the end anyway. Much more Mad Money ahead. Might be a roller coaster market, but did Cedar Fair and Six Flags just add to the whiplash? Keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle. I'm taking you for a ride after all the acquisition talk. Then my exclusive with Ring Central. Have you seen that thing, RNG? Can it help ring in the returns even at these prices? I've got the CEO. And we've all got non-negotiable demands when it comes to relationships. So what are the things that the U.S. refuses to settle on when it comes to China trade? Even as the president says this evening that a deal could be imminent, well, you got to stick with me. They're going to be right back.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.